Cloudcast Media.
Drew Schlosberg Spotlight on the Community Show, amplifying the voices of social impact organizations, entrepreneurs, local nonprofits, and other community champions who shape the culture, creativity, and connectivity of San Diego. Brought to you by Mission Fed Credit Union, bringing good things to San Diego for over 60 years. Learn more about what is good for you and good for all by visiting www.missionfed.com.
I'm Drew Schlosberg of Cloudcast Media, listening to another edition of Drew Schlosberg Spotlight on the Community Show, brought to you by Mission Fed Credit Union. We are so pleased to have back in the studio. This must be your 1,000th visit, I think, Jose. Seriously, if you think about it, Jose Cruz is the CEO of the San Diego Council on Literacy, and we started this podcast in 2007. I know you were involved when we first got started.
Yep. I remember the first interviews and getting a lot of practice, just the whole format and such. I mean, there's the radio version of things and TV and all that kind of stuff. But I love this format.
Well, it's great to have you. And you joined by your colleague, Nyla Henry. She is the adult learning advocate for the Carlsbad City Library. How you doing there, Nyla?
I'm doing good.
How long have you been involved with Carlsbad City Library?
Since 2004.
Right. 2004. And before that, what were you doing?
Just surviving.
Well,
there was no before.
Did you tutor? Did you tutor before that?
I'm not a tutor. I'm just an adult learner. Yeah.
Okay, very good. So, but you probably could be a tutor now, right?
I could.
Right, very good. I want to talk about that. That's remarkable what you've done, and talk about your experiences on that. Joined by my co-host, Kristen Fogel, who knows a lot about writing and literacy and all this business. She is the executive director of San Diego Writers Inc. Kristen?
Yeah. Well, Jose has, the big work and everything. I'm, literary, he's literacy. But to that effect, tell us what the Council on Literacy, what the mission is, for those that don't know.
The mission is to unite the community, to support literacy for all, using advocacy, partnerships, and resources to respond to the challenge. It's a significant one.
Yeah.
Where we have half of our kids in San Diego County who are not meeting the standard for reading.
Wow.
And that's enormous. So we keep hitting with that number so people understand why we're doing what we do. And the advocacy and awareness piece those are the first steps, and they're constant, it's ongoing. There are people listening today who are like, hey, I didn't know that.
Right.
And so we're still sometimes feeling like we're at day one with making people aware of what's taking place and how they can be engaged in solutions.
Yeah.
Is that pretty much the norm, that number for major metros, or depends?
It's the norm, but if you look at the city of Los Angeles, for example, in San Diego County, looking at the adult literacy rate, for example, about 23% of adults at the lowest level of literacy. In Los Angeles, the city of Los Angeles, for example, is closer to 35, 36%.
Okay.
And then part of it is second languages, but the other part is just that people didn't get the help that they needed. It's very much a resource issue. You give people the same things when they're growing up.
Yeah. As
emerging readers, then they will do the things that emerging readers should do. And if they don't have those things, then quite often just people fall behind real fast.
Right.
Yeah. Now I want to really shout you out. It's very courageous to do what you did. For an adult that, said, I can't read, but I'm going to get help doing it. Right. When did you make that decision?
We were moving to San Diego. I'm originally from Kern County. And the boss that I came down to work for as a property manager wanted me to sign a contract. And I always made it a rule not to sign contracts because I can't read them.
Right.
So when I told him that I couldn't sign it, he said, 1 minute. And then he stepped out and then came back in and gave me the information about the Adult Learning Center.
Interesting.
So, yeah.
So he could tell there was something there?
Yeah, I guess so. He reached out to and said that I can do whatever I needed to sign up for the program, and he would let me still work.
Wow.
and let me have the time I needed to.
There's a hero right there.
Yeah.
Yeah, we should have had him on the show with you. Very, very seriously on that. But talk about, listen, you're growing up, struggling with reading. You're an adult now and can't read. That's got to be scary, is it not?
It is. It's like being dropped in the middle of a foreign country that you don't even speak the language.
Right.
I struggled going to the grocery store, buying food. I struggled reading recipes to cook the meal. We had to eat a lot of TV dinners because, it wasn't easy to cook. Reading signs, going into a restaurant, couldn't read the menu. So, you didn't know any other inventors for, just hamburgers, So it was, you follow other people's leads.
Right.
You're also very shut off because you don't trust easy.
Right.
Because you don't want people to know you can't read because you're treated differently.
Right.
Yeah.
So, and for me, it was like going to the library was like, well, I can't read, so why would I go to the library?
Yeah.
So,
Jose, you and I have only talked about this probably since the inception of the council in 1986. And when you look at Nyla, and of course, our good friends at the council that have benefited from those services, it takes that brave step and a courageous step to say, I need help and I'm going to seek it. That doesn't happen all the time, Jose.
No, it doesn't. And, there's a stigma attached to it. It's a very private thing. When just coming into this work, like we went back to 1986, right?
Right.
And I started in 1985 in this area, so it's 40 years now of doing this work. The adults who are out there who are English speaking, and there's a difference. There really is. Who are English speaking who need help with reading. This is the secret that they hide. They feel like they're the only person in the world that can't read or write, and because people aren't talking about this. So, hey, everybody can read, right?
Right.
And it's not like that. And then you look at the second language learners, the adult learners who are learning English. They're more likely to ask for help. In fact, they make up the bulk of adults receiving literacy services in San Diego County because the stigma is not the same.
Right.
Right. We're chatting with Jose Cruz. He is the CEO of the San Diego Council on Literacy, joined by Nyla Henry, an adult learning advocate who, took up a great challenge to learn how to read. And, bless your heart for doing it. You're an inspiration for so many people.
Thank
me
you.
personally, because I got to be on Jose's board for many, many years. We've known each other for almost 40 years, I guess, for that aspect of it. Joined by Kristen Fogel. She's the executive director of San Diego Writers Inc. Kristen, I know literacy is just so important to you.
Yeah, absolutely. I have so many questions for Nyla. When you went for the very first time to the Carlsbad Library, what was that experience like?
it was very hard.
Mm-hmm.
It was very hard because I even went to the library, but I actually went to the wrong library.
Okay.
And the people there did not know what I was talking about. And
interesting.
Yeah. So, which when I finally made it to the center that was just across the street around the corner, they said they will fix that. So, because it's important, for them to be able to find us and locate. So it was, once I got there, they made me feel very comfortable and safe. That was kind of really important to feel that way. And then they found somebody that they felt that would be a best fit for me. So we worked on one-on-one. And it is different from when you're an adult from a child learning because we've already had to survive going through different steps in our lives. So going back and learning the basics and understanding where our understanding where we make the connection to reading words, to read a sentence, and even writing and spelling.
Right.
Because making the connection was very, very important.
Yeah. I can't imagine. I mean, I was sick a lot as a child, and so I have a pretty high math deficit. I'm learning with my 6-year-old right now, and I'm like, well, I'm gonna, kind of learn how to do some of these things with him. So I can't imagine going back and doing all of that. What did the process look like week to week? Were you meeting once a week, several times, several hours?
We would meet 2 days a week it's an hour and a half, but I always did 2 because I was traveling to Carlsbad. So I wanted to make sure that, I had enough time to do that. When you were talking about your working with your 6-year-old, I had 2 kids, and I kind of was counting on the school to help them, but I couldn't read, so I couldn't teach them. So they were struggling.
Right.
And it really made it difficult because I felt like we were on the merry-go-round and how do we get off?
Right. When we come back from break, I want to continue that conversation because you are, we mentioned this before, such an inspiration for those people who don't think it can happen. Yes, it can. You've done it. I might use the word brave and courageous, but I'll use it all the time for what you did. And Jose, I know we'll talk about this when we come back from break. We just want to, shine a light on Nyla. We also want to talk about this Waves of Inspiration book as well. I know we're going to let the expert Kristen delve into that as well when we return with Jose Cruz, CEO of the San Diego Council on Literacy, joined by Nyla Henry, adult learning advocate of the Carlsbad City Library, who couldn't read as an adult and went and got some help. And man, she's doing a great job. You're very well spoken, by the way, Nyla, and so forth. I'm Drew Schlosberg, listening to another edition of Drew Schlosberg Spotlight on the Community Show. We are the nation's longest running community podcast, brought to you by the unbelievable folks at Mission Fed Credit Union. 6 decades of doing great things in the community, whether it's food insecurity, whether it's art, financial literacy, everything else. They are just with you shoulder to shoulder, and we will be right back.
When you do your banking with Mission Fed, you get great rates on auto and home loans. That's good for you, but something good also happens for a lot of other people. We're not for profit, so we put money back into the community to help lots of great nonprofits to keep San Diego strong. So you're not just getting something good, you're doing something good. Come to Mission Fed. It's banking that's good for all.
Brand amplification is the DNA of Cloudcast Media, and our code is the powerful blending of sound, voice, and storytelling to lift local brands and their communities. Whether it is our Brandcast, Schoolcast, or Causecast platforms, the unifying ethos is all about this community, the one you call home. If you dare to dream and want to explore the brand amplification of Cloudcast, a national leader in local podcasting and other Winfluence strategies, please visit us at cloudcast.us.
I'm Drew Schlosberg of Cloudcast Media, listening to another edition of Drew Schlosberg Spotlight on the Community Show. We've been doing this now for 19 years, the longest running community podcast in the nation. Brought to you by Mission Fed Credit Union, 6 decades of just being with anybody who lives in San Diego County. You need some support. They're going to find a way to do it in so many different facets. Really pleased to have Jose Cruz, CEO of San Diego Council on Literacy, and his colleague Nyla Henry, adult learning advocate for Carlsbad City Library, in the studio with us, joined by my longtime co-host. And it's almost 2 years now, right?
We need a party, yeah.
We need to have a party. We're going to celebrate effective immediately.
Yeah.
If you can break open the champagne, Brandon, that would be great. Kristen Fogel is the Executive Director of San Diego Writers Inc., Jose, I'll start with you on this, and I definitely want to get Nyla's perspective, and then I know Kristen has a bunch of questions. What's Waves of Inspiration?
This is a collection of learner stories from the Carlsbad City Library literacy program, literacy lab there. And it's just, and Nyla can tell you more about it, but she has a few stories here. Now, on the back, there's a quote from Albert Einstein: "Creativity is intelligence having fun," which I hadn't seen that one before until today.
Yeah.
And here's where these folks who have had the experiences they've had in terms of reading, who are writing stories and seeing themselves being published. It's a powerful thing, and it's beautiful, beautiful work.
Yeah, it is.
So I'm glad that we all have copies now.
Yeah.
So, Nyla, was it hard to put your story or your ideas or your inspiration or whatever in the book?
Not necessarily hard. It helps. I enjoy writing, which is kind of weird, going from not really,
Right.
avoiding that to write down what I feel and how I see things. I think it's I don't know, uplifting. And that's
when you think about, so here you are, obviously had challenges in school as a student, of course, and then you have your kids, and then of course now you're an adult, and you go, and now I'm actually writing and getting published. What that's phenomenal turnaround. When did you hit the epiphany of you're now confident or have more confidence than you've ever had before in terms of literacy?
Probably in the last 5 years, I felt like the light bulb went off, and it's mind-blowing to be able to write down how I feel.
I think that's great. Kristen, obviously you're the expert in writing in a variety of ways on this. And just this is an unbelievable story.
Absolutely. I'm so curious about how this came about, because I see it's volume 1. So do either of you know kind of how this idea started?
Well, I mean, adult learner stories have been a thing for a long time.
Sure.
I think, Nyla, you've done a Writer to Writer, right?
Yes.
And that's something that's been sponsored by the California State Library, California Library Literacy Services, for many years now. And so Nyla's been part of that. So we like to see the testimonials and just the creative work that the literacy students are doing.
I mean, this should be mandatory reading for everybody who's on a city council, who's a supervisor, who's a congressman or woman.
Yeah.
This is what happens when you support programs like the San Diego Council on Literacy or this, Carlsbad City Library. And this is what happens. And the lives that they turn around are huge.
Every adult learner has a story, and it's an adventure or a misadventure or whatever. It's having to go through school. I mean, Nyla can tell you about that and what that experience was. What was the thing that inspired you to ask for help? How has your life been different? And ask that to any one of the thousands who get served. And you're going to hear some real truth.
So Kristen, let me ask you this. You've worked with writers for a long time. Of course, San Diego Writers Inc., more than 20 years old, but you've done playwriting and all that business. But with San Diego Writers Inc., has anyone come in that used to be an adult learner like Nyla and started taking some of your courses?
We have so many different programs. So not in my classroom. I mean, certainly we work with populations that have overcome a lot, like the Brain Injury Foundation and our Wounded Warriors projects and things like that. But I wouldn't be surprised. And I also wouldn't be surprised either if that's not something that they would readily share with us either.
Right.
So, yeah.
Well, I mean, it's one of the things that Jose and you and I have talked about this for so long, and that's why I just really applaud Nyla, is that, and we'll say this, there's a lot of folks that, need, the help in this, but I totally understand that they want to be invisible. It takes a lot of courage to admit you can't do it. But then you get the help and you go, why didn't I do this earlier?
Yeah.
Or now? So Nyla, when you talk to learners, that are either just getting into the tutoring aspect of it or whatever the case may be, and say, no, you can do it too. I mean, you were a poster child for that. What are their reactions when they see, you've done it?
I get mixed reactions. There's some that believe, they can't believe they have a safe environment, that there's people willing to, uh, offer that help to them to and meet their goals. Then there's some that are still wearing the mask.
Mm-hmm.
I call it the mask, that aren't willing to share because they're still afraid of that environment that they're in. So I've met people that are even older than I am that, they lived a life and how far they have come. And now they're stepping up and coming in and asking for the help. And there's several stories in there of other adult learners, and it's amazing because every single one of them are amazing people.
Mm-hmm.
And they're great people in our community. And they're finally are able to get their word out and feel comfortable with it.
Yeah, Jose, again, you wish that 15,000 more Nylas would come up, and you put that out. How do you get the word out and share this story? John Corcoran's story, of course, and Maria Gonzalez's story. Those are some of the ones, and Maria, of course, and so forth. How do you get that word out more?
Well, now we have social media, right?
Yeah.
And we the quote that I like to use is no stories without data, no data without stories.
Mm-hmm.
And so that you have the numbers, and you also have the history of different people and what's taking place and what percentage of folks it is. But the bottom line really is when you say how do you get the word out? It is word of mouth. It's still very much that.
Mm-hmm.
That's what gets folks into the programs. The work that Nyla does helps with bringing people in as well as retaining them so that now that they're in the door, they stay in the door until they reach their goals and get a little bit more confidence and momentum going.
Jose, can you talk a little bit about, where you're located in the county and maybe also the role that volunteers play?
Thanks for asking that, because that's what I'm supposed to be doing too. We are actually the Literacy Coalition for San Diego County. We represent a network of 34 youth, adult, and family literacy programs. Annually, they serve 100,000 residents of all ages at no cost.
Mm.
And they're in every corner of San Diego County.
That's wonderful.
So we have programs everywhere doing the work in different ways with different populations.
Right. Now, the learners that are in this book, okay, are they all ages? So you went through school not knowing how to read. And then, of course, as a mom, not being able to help your kids with homework or whatever.
Yeah.
I mean, that's pretty amazing stuff, and it's very courageous for you to take that next step. Are those similar stories of the folks that are in this book?
Yeah. It's they all lived their lives the best way that they could, and no matter how you work through it, you find someone. It's kind of hard to say. It's like my first husband had no idea I couldn't read.
Really?
The whole time I was with him, 9 years. And then my second husband, for the first 2 years of our marriage, he didn't know. I didn't know how to read. That's how secret that it is.
And you were able to mask it.
Yes.
Right.
It was a survival skill.
Yeah. Wow. Well, you're courageous, you're inspirational, and thank you for coming in and sharing your story. That's not easy to do, but you're doing so many great things for people that were in your situation, need to get some of the services. I'm sort of getting goosebumps even thinking about it. Kristen, any final questions for Nyla?
Well, I was just kind of thinking about, the creativity it takes to keep a secret like that and to navigate the world. And so it's got to be great to translate that now into the words, into that sort of creativity. So,
yeah, I still have, I don't know, people say, oh, well, you must be really smart to maneuver. And, we have talent. Everybody has talents. And, it's just the brain is amazing, and that because of how it helps you get through, and the little tricks that you learn to do to maneuver, among the people.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, just think about it, Kristen. Can you imagine you're going K through 12 and that I can't read. I'm scared to death the teacher's going to call on me.
Yeah.
Okay. And so forth. And every day is that, how am I going to get through this day? Times 13.
At the same time, I think that there are many, many youth in San Diego that are facing that challenge and just
100%.
kind of going through and, by sheer grit, just making it happen. So, I'm thankful for all the work you do with the council and just spreading the good word about it.
Thank you.
So, yeah.
Are these books for sale or are they given away?
Yeah, good question.
Yeah.
I got mine for free.
Okay. That wasn't the question,
Besides
Jose.
the VIPs, Jose.
I think there are a number of these that have been published, and I think they're giving them away. I mean, we want people to have them.
Right? Yeah, we're giving them away, and they're at the Carlsbad.
Yeah,
they're beautiful.
What I'm saying is do another run on it and charge corporations to buy these. And so then you can make some money for the Carlsbad City Library. Okay,
that's a thought.
Yeah. We're going to have Peter Kallstrom's going to put in the first 1 million. Okay, he's our guest coming up very, very, very shortly. Jose Cruz, it's always great to see you. Thank you so much for all you've been doing for so many years. And Nyla, what an honor to have you on. And Jose, we're going to look forward to having someone. Why don't you choose somebody from the Waves of Inspiration and bring that person on or persons on, talk about their journey as well.
That'd be fantastic. I'll work with Nyla on that. And then we have some other things to update everyone about. So the big, exciting stuff. So bring us back.
We'll bring you back. Very good. Jose Cruz, CEO of the San Diego Council on Literacy. Nyla Henry, an adult learner and the adult learning advocate for the Carlsbad City Library. Kristen, as always, thank you for being my co-host. You've been listening to another edition of Drew Schlosberg Spotlight on the Community Show. We're brought to you by Mission Fed Credit Union. We've been doing the show for 19 years. We're the longest running community podcast. And thank you, Mission Fed, for all you do, not only to support this show, but everything in San Diego County, food insecurity, financial literacy, the arts. And for our listeners, we hope you enjoyed the interview.
You've been listening to an episode of Drew Schlosberg's Spotlight on the Community Show, amplifying the voices of social impact organizations, entrepreneurs, local nonprofits, and other community champions who shape the culture, creativity, and connectivity of San Diego community. Brought to you by Mission Fed Credit Union, bringing good things to San Diego for over 60 years. Learn more about what is good for you and good for all by visiting www.missionfed.com.
Cloudcast Media.